Hi, and welcome to I'm Too Busy. Today, I am so excited to be sitting down with the incredibly talented Marisa Churchill, chef, author, top shelf alum, and now novelist. We're talking about everything from growing up in the kitchen with her Greek Yaya, competing on television, to reinventing her career and writing her debut novel, Secrets, Spells, and Chocolate. I love a good reinvention story, and Marisa's is such a great reminder that sometimes one chapter of your life leads you somewhere you never expected. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Let's get to it. Hi, I'm Christina Flach, and I am so excited to introduce you to Marisa. Wait, hold on, 3, 2, 1. I don't even need to do that because I do it at the end. Okay, let's just get into it. Here we go. I always love to start at the beginning because I think so much of who we become starts long before our resume. You grew up cooking with your Greek grandmother, your Yaya, and you've talked about watching her cure olives and bake bread. What do you remember about being in the kitchen with her, and what did she teach you that had absolutely nothing to do with the recipe?
You know, what I remember most about my Greek grandmother, because Greeks come from a small village, my grandmother did at least.
Yeah.
She was always used to foraging. So I remember going into neighbors' yards because we didn't have an olive tree in our yard. And I still remember one time I'm climbing, about 8 years old, climbing an olive tree, and the people come home. And my grandmother, hello, dear, how are you? It's okay. I bring them baklava. It's okay. And these people just kind of looking at her like, she's just in our yard picking our olives.
Stealing, teaching her granddaughter to steal, to be a
Exactly.
burglar.
Exactly. But I guess what that taught me is, and she did bring the baklava and all was well. So
And all was well.
if you know how to bake, you can win a lot of brownie points with people. That's what I'm saying.
I love that. Was there a moment when you realized food was more than something you just enjoyed, that this could actually become part of your life?
Yes, I did. So I was actually a marketing major at ASU, and I started having panic attacks actually because I realized that I had no idea what I was doing. And I do a lot of school visits now for my new book, and I talk to these kids about this because I feel like, especially high school age kids, they're having to think about the future, and it's so much pressure just to be a teenager. And then on top of it, you're supposed to decide your entire future. I know I wasn't ready. Uh,
No. How can you
yeah,
know?
I know. So, I was just panicking and thinking this is not for me, and I don't want to be sitting at a desk all day. And but I knew, my grandparents, my dad's side, my great grandfather was a master chef in Germany, who owned
Oh,
restaurants in
wow.
Naples. Yeah, I've got cooking on both sides. And then my great grandparents on the Greek side owned a pastry shop in Greece. And then when my grandparents came to this country as immigrants, they opened a restaurant. So I knew the industry and I knew it was hard work. And I just thought, am I cut out for this? And then I decided to go have lunch at the California Culinary Academy. I don't know, I'm again dating myself, but if anybody remembers the CCA in San Francisco, that great
Of course.
building on Polk Street.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, and it was part of the inspiration for Brindle in my new novel, because it felt magical. The first time I stepped in there, I knew it was just one of those moments where I thought, this is where I belong. This is what I have to do, and it's got to be baking and pastry. So it all just
Wow. So, isn't that remarkable how you just walked in there and you're like, oh, this is home. These are my people. You
yes.
also studied nutrition before going to culinary school. What drew you to nutrition, and how was the knowledge influenced, to be the kind of chef that you decided to be?
Yeah, the nutrition study was actually after culinary school. So
Oh, forgive me.
that is okay. I know I've worn a lot of hats. But after I started cooking, I was on Top Chef, and I kind of became the go-to by accident for lighter and healthier recipes. It started with a feature in Food and Wine's well-being section, and then Bon Appetit wanted something as well, and it kind of evolved from there. And I had this idea to write a lighter and healthier baking book. And this was back in 2010, where nobody was doing that. And I had a fine dining background. So it seemed nuts to other chefs that here I was suddenly going to say, oh, let's bake light and healthy. Who does that? Nobody back then. So I was looking at what was already out there, and there wasn't a lot. It was just gross stuff. Like if you were trying to lighten things up, it was, oh, use margarine or use Cool Whip instead of whipped cream. And I'm like,
Oh, gag.
yeah, that's disgusting and not healthy for you. So I decided if I was going to do it, then I wanted to do it properly. So so I started studying nutrition.
And what did you get from that that like taught you how to, to become a pastry chef?
So it really kind of taught me how to look at ingredients in a new way. You start thinking about things that you didn't think of before. So as a pastry chef in fine dining, for example, I had made unusual ice creams before. I'd made beet ice cream. I'd done a deconstructed cake, a carrot cake with a carrot sorbet. But I didn't really think about the fact that, wait a second, those root vegetables actually have sugars, naturally occurring sugars in them. And in old days, that's what people used to sweeten cakes when they were baking. How do you actually utilize those in a recipe to not only add fiber, but add some sweetness and use less refined sugar?
One thing I find fascinating about pastry is that it requires you to be creative, but yet you have to be precise. Like I have been working with Tyler Florence for years, and I know
Yeah.
how to like throw food together, but baking is a whole other animal. Like you can't just throw in handfuls of sugar and flour and something comes out. You really do have to be precise.
Yes.
Are you naturally a perfectionist, or was it easier for you to go down that route?
So I grew up cooking, not baking. And so I really, when I decided I wanted to enroll in the baking and pastry program, I was kind of questioning it. Going, is this really for me? What do I do here? But I love it because to me, when you cook, it's something very emotional, and you're kind of just deciding, oh, do I throw this in? How am I feeling today? What's fresh at the farmer's market? But with baking, yes, your mind is in a different place. And so for me, that's the work hat. And I love it. Plus, I don't know, chocolate, it's fun. It's fun. So yeah.
It's what's not to love. Well,
Yeah.
let's go back a bit. How did Top Chef happen? Because, back when you went on, it's not like it was now that it was
It was
like
season
that's a
two.
big deal.
Yeah, it was
Season
season two.
two.
It was really early on. So I had already gotten some local press and done some local TV shows. And several friends that I had were just saying to me, hey, there's this new show out and you should try out for this show. And after several people said this to me, I thought, well, what is this show? When you're working in restaurants, you don't have a lot of time to watch television. So I had no idea what Top Chef even was. Um, so I managed to watch a couple of episodes and thought, oh, okay, yeah, it was great because season one, the couple of episodes that I watched, again, as we were talking about, baking is so different than cooking. And, there were a couple of challenges where the chefs were just, I don't know how to do this. I'm not a pastry chef. That's not what I do. And so I thought this is perfect. So when I went in for the interview, I'm your pastry chef right here. And
Wow.
yeah.
And what was that experience like? Did you like it? Because I've worked in reality TV and
Oh yeah. Well, I
it's
didn't.
a whole
Oh
can
yeah.
of worms.
Oh yes. Even the contract that you signed, there should have been a lot of red flags. I'm like, what we show may not be factual or display you in a fair or flattering light. Okay, sure. Let me
Yeah,
sign
they mean
right
that. That's all. Yeah.
on.
And they want that stuff. That's an Emmy. They want some
Yeah.
craziness.
Yeah. So I will say this, it opened up a lot of doors and opportunities for me. But when they started doing Top Chef Just Dessert, they talked to me about that and would I want to come back. And at that point, I was already doing some stuff on Food Network. And I was like, you know what? Once was enough. I'm good because Food Network's very different from Top Chef that way. Food Network is, there's drama and pressure, but it's not so much, it's about the food. It's not about any kind of real drama with the chefs, and you're not having to all live together. And
Right, right, right. And have all that. Let's go back also. Michael Bauer called you one of San Francisco's top pastry chefs. When you were working incredibly hard and somebody with that kind of influence recognizes your work, did that give you confidence or did that feel like added pressure?
that was amazing for me. As I'm somebody who, no matter what I'm doing work-wise, I am constantly second guessing myself. I'm not second guessing myself, but I cringe when there are chefs that talk about, oh my God, I just made this dish, you've got to try it. It's the best ever. I cringe when I hear words like that because I feel like if you really want to be good at your craft, you should always be looking at it with a critical eye and looking at it of how can I do better? How can I improve? So
True.
that's how I've always looked at everything that I've done. So yeah, so that was unexpected. But it was great. Yeah, that was quite a boost. And when Michael Bauer says something like that, yeah, of course it makes a difference and people do listen.
It is. I
Yeah.
mean, he's incredibly influential. Was there anything that you learned watching yourself that actually changed you?
So I didn't feel that it changed me at the time, but I'm kind of jumping forward here, but I keep talking about this book. So I have published
Yes, let's talk
a
about the
book.
let's go, let's just dive into the book.
Yeah, so I've written several cookbooks, but in December, my debut novel came out, Secrets, Spells, and Chocolate. And it is about not only a magical cooking school, but the world's like the biggest and most magical cooking competition, the Golden Whisk, which was inspired partly by my experiences on Top Chef and Food Network, as well as the Coupe du Monde de la Patisserie, which if you do not know what it is, you should look it up or just look up World Pastry Cup in Lyon, France. And it's insane. It's an epic throwdown that happens every other year between the world's top pastry chefs. Um, so yeah, so is this idea of writing this book came to me. All of these experiences from culinary school to competing on Top Chef, competing on Food Network, all of these things were coming back into my mind, and I just thought there's a story here. I mean, I was reading a book called Knives at Dawn: America's Quest for Culinary Glory at the Bocuse d'Or, because the Bocuse d'Or is the other big epic culinary competition that happens in France. That's a savory competition. And I like to read a lot of geeky food books like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but as I was reading it, it was kind of similar themes of, oh my God, during this challenge, I'm so sorry I did X. I wish I'd done Y. Did this person intentionally tamper with my ingredients? And I was reading this and I was thinking, my God, does it matter whether you're on Top Chef or you're in the biggest culinary stage in the world? The same things are happening. The same questions, the same regrets, the same backstabbing. And I just thought there's a bigger story here. So I had no clue at the time that it was going to influence me in that way. And if somebody had said to me, you're going to take all of these experiences and you're going to roll them up and put them into a fantasy novel, I'm like, what are you smoking?
Exactly. It's always that thing like never say never because every time we do, inevitably we end
Yeah,
up doing it, right?
exactly. Yes. Um,
Which creative process is harder for you, writing or cooking?
Writing, 100% writing. Because you know, food, yes, there's layers there. So when you're creating a new dessert, there are steps, and you're not typically going to nail a new dessert on the first try. I'm going to go with desserts rather than, savory dishes, since that's what I was always
Right.
doing. But there's steps along the way. You're typically not making something and then going, oh well, this is crap. Let me start from square one. And it's also collaborative. When you work in a restaurant, you're working on a dish, you don't just go, okay, now it's done, let's put it on the menu. The other chefs that you work with, whether it's sous chefs, executive chef, they're tasting it with you, you're discussing it, getting feedback. Why don't you try this? What if you try that? um, And you have that a little bit in the writing process. When you write your first draft, then goes to your agent. Your agent will come back with notes. Then you'll rewrite it again. And then if the agent likes everything, they'll say, okay, now it's ready to go out on submission. Then it gets acquired. And then the editor will send you more notes. Um, so yes, you're getting some feedback, but it's a little bit more. I don't like to use the word solitary, even though I know a lot of writers do, because like I said, you have so many experiences you're working off of and you are getting feedback, but it's not happening in real time. Like when you're in the
Right.
kitchen and you're
Like
making a
cooking,
dish,
like you bake
fix it
something
right
and in an
now.
hour, here we
Yeah.
go, we have something.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
must have been really hard because you're accustomed to some, not gratification, but some feedback. And then I would imagine it might get somewhat lonely as well. You're writing and then you have to send it. And then are you panicked like, oh my God, what's the editor going to say?
Well, you wonder that a little bit for sure. Again, if you're me, because you're always second guessing and saying, is it good enough? But I think part of it too is kind of carving out time, because for me at least, when I'm writing, I need quiet. If I'm cooking, yeah, give me the music, I can talk to people, it's not a problem. But when I'm writing, leave me alone. I have a 5-year-old and a 9-year-old and a husband who is I'm pointing like he's actually
You're
here, but
like,
he's
"Hey,
not.
he's right here. He's like, hello, I'm
The
here.
office, my office is back there. That's why I'm pointing that way. That's where I write. And he is still not fully trained to know that when the doors close, don't come in. He's still like, but if I come in quietly and still interrupted,
And again,
I'm in a thought.
don't.
Yeah, just don't. So it's funny because in some ways it's the same, and in other ways it's different. So especially baking a pastry in fine dining, there's a lot of creativity that's happening when you're developing desserts, because I think that there's a lot of whimsy in dessert, and there's a lot of whimsy. Well, at least in my style of writing, there's a lot of whimsy. So there are parallels there. And when you're creating a dessert, you're looking for those contrast and flavors and textures. And kind of it's the same thing when you're writing and you're creating subplots. Um, but how you get there is very different in baking versus writing. How you get to the finished product, I should say.
Right. What was it like? So tell me a little bit, how did this happen? You've been cooking, you're doing all these amazing things, and then you're currently still a chef, pastry
Yeah,
chef?
so I mean, it's funny. One of my friends said to me one time, like, "You're always going to be a chef, Marisa." So I guess I'm still a
That's
chef,
true.
but I am not working in restaurants anymore. No,
Do
and
you
that
miss it?
I do. I yes and no. I mean,
What do you miss? And what are you like, oh gosh, I don't miss that?
yeah. So I
The
miss
hours, I would imagine. It's hard work.
it is, and it's
People don't realize how physically and emotionally taxing it is.
It is so physically and emotionally taxing. And then if you have little kids on top of that,
No, you can like,
yeah, tenfold. Plus, I'm not 20 something anymore or 30 something anymore. And you get into your 40s or 50s, and I don't think the body can handle cooking the way it could when you're in your 20s or your 30s. So that's the part where I look at it and I think, okay, it's good. I'm not there anymore. Also, having young kids at home. I mean, fine dining chefs, vampires keep better hours than we do. So,
oh, that's
uh,
for sure.
yeah. So I would have no quality time with my kids. Um, so I'm grateful for those aspects and leaving that behind. But I miss the teamwork. I mean, when you are
The
under
camaraderie.
yeah, that kind of a pressure cooker, it's a tight knit group. Um, and so I miss that. I miss to the creative push. And I think that that's actually kind of how this book came about, because I think my brain got really restless. Like, wait a second, I need to do something creative. What am I going to do? If you're not going to be in the kitchen 12 hours a day anymore, coming up with all these desserts, where is that creative energy going to go? And I've been writing for years for Huffington Post and Eater, and used to write for Chowhound. So I've always enjoyed writing. Um, but my creative brain just kind of took that and said, okay, we're going elsewhere with it. It's almost like little elves take over your way of thinking. If you've seen Inside Out, again, I have kids, so I don't know if you know what that movie is, but where the little people in the brain and their
Yeah.
different emotions. Yes. So it's like those little characters were in my head and just said, okay, this is what we're doing. So get your
How long was the whole writing process from beginning to end?
Oh gosh. It was I would say about 3 years. It was a long time. And part of the
Wow.
reason it was a long time, so there was a learning curve. Book two is done. It's with my editor, still waiting to hear back, see if we are getting an offer on that. That took a year. So big difference. I would say one, because I realized how important outlining is.
Mm.
So there was that aspect, but also I had to find a new literary agent. And that was a completely different process than cookbooks because for the two literary agents I had for my cookbooks, the first one, I was at an event. This was years ago, and a publicist friend was there and said, "Oh, hey, you should meet my friend Laura Werland. She's a big fan of Top Chef. She's a James Beard Award winning cookbook author." We started talking. I said, "Oh, I have this idea for this healthy baking book. Let me connect you with my agent." And so it was that simple. And then, I was looking for another agent, reached out to Ryan Scott from Top Chef. "Hey, Ryan, who's representing you these days? Let me connect you with my agent." Super simple. When you're writing a novel, no, especially if you're an unknown, nobody's going to vouch for you like that.
So you couldn't even use the same editors that you had used
No, no, because so
or
not
agent.
all agents, but most agents are specialized.
Interesting.
So for example, my current agent, she actually does represent both cookbooks and novels, but not just novels, but kidlit. I mean, this is look, Gail Simmons gave me a blurb for this, and she said, it's for food and fantasy lovers of all ages. I couldn't put it down. So even though it technically is for a younger audience, if you're a foodie and you're into fantasy as an adult, you will enjoy this book. But still that, you have to find a specific agent that represents that genre.
Interesting. I wasn't aware of that. Nobody builds a career without rejection, disappointment, mistakes, and moments when things don't go according to plan. What
Yeah.
has been one of the biggest professional disappointments of your career? And what did it
Oh,
teach you?
gosh. I mean, it's so hard to say. I mean, look, there, how much time do we have?
Oh,
No,
yeah,
I
right. This
mean,
might be a three-parter.
look, Top Chef was an amazing opportunity, but things like the editing process, you're looking at it afterwards going, well, that's not what happened. So that was harsh. That was like a knife to the chest.
Right. And you have no control how they're going to portray you.
No, you don't. And so you look at things like that. That was really tough. And then I lived in Greece for 5 years. I'm Greek, as I mentioned before, on my mom's side, and I had my own cooking show there. And it was amazing having my own cooking show. And then I don't
Do
know
you
how.
speak Greek?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes. So I had my own cooking show there. It was sponsored by Faya Yogurt. And there was a financial crisis happening in Greece. We woke up one day and they had locked down all the banks. So there was no money, even for the companies. They could only get a certain amount of money out each day.
Oh
So
my gosh.
show wasn't going to get renewed. So things like that are just painful when they're out of your control. And, so things like because
Do
they're
you
not you care about.
do you find like I always feel that like things aren't happening to you, they're happening for you. So what would you say happened for you from that experience?
I think that learning to understand that you can't control everything. You
Right.
can't control everything, and you have to be okay with that. And you have to look at the positive in every experience and not worry about what other people are thinking, especially this day and age with social media. You've got to do your own thing, be true to who you are, and not worry about the rest. And go into things knowing, hey, this may or may not, end up being the way that, I want it to be. I mean, even this book, I mean, this was, I'd say, the most important thing that I've done in my career. Um, but
In your literary career or in your whole entire
my
career?
whole entire career, it is so personal writing a novel. It's
Wow.
so insanely personal and it's so massively time consuming. I mean, I've never spent 3 years developing one dish. I'll tell you that much.
Right. Did you ever feel like I can't do this? I'm bored. I've got nothing. I have no words. Like, what do you do when your day isn't flowing?
No, I mean, for sure I had days where things weren't flowing, and that's painful. But I never thought I can't do this. But my fear was, what if I do this and it's not good enough? What if I don't find a publisher? What if I don't find an agent? Um,
Yeah, what's plan B?
yeah. And so for me, self-publishing, I've just never been interested in going down that road. So there was no plan B. Which is,
Sometimes it's better not to have a plan B, quite frankly, because I always say when people say, "Oh, I'm trying," to me, trying means there's wiggle room to go, "Well, I tried," and
yeah,
not really execute it. And I think because you were determined, you're like, "Oh, no, there's no," just what you said, there's no
yeah.
plan B. It had to succeed because there was no plan B. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. And I definitely have that kind of personality. I mean, I remember going into the casting call for Top Chef and it was funny because later I ended up meeting this friend who's in the literary world, but her husband is in the chef world. And she said, "Oh yeah, he was there that day and he saw you and he just said, your attitude was like the rest of you can go home because this spot is mine." And that was how I felt that day too. And it
Did it
was.
just flow? Like, do you think it was just one of those days where everything was aligned and you're like, I'm going in there, I feel good, and I'm getting this?
Yeah, I mean, I'd already gotten I hadn't gotten Michael Bauer saying one of the city's top pastry chefs yet, but I'd already gotten some good reviews from Michael Bauer. I was an executive pastry chef at that point. Yeah, I just, I am, and I knew that I was good on camera. I knew I
See,
was.
that's a big deal because I think a lot of chefs like go from being in the chef world to going and being in front of the camera. And even if they have a good personality, it takes time to learn to do this. You can't just go on camera and be who you are because I mean, I found it myself when I started going on NBC. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah, no, it does take time. And then
how
some
long did it
chefs,
take
they
you to
just
get to
don't
that
want
point where
to
you
do
were
it.
comfortable? How long did it take you to get comfortable in front of the camera?
No, I was comfortable with it. Now, what's funny is I'm not comfortable with social media. I hate having to like film reel.
Ex- You know what you are? You're like me. I call us introverted extroverts,
Yeah, there we go. Yep. And I would say that perfectly describes me.
right?
Yes.
I find that a lot with people in like in creatives. Like it appear like my sister said this to me the other day. She goes, "You are socially so awkward." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I talk to people all day." She goes, "Yeah, but you don't know how to like be at a party and just chit chat." I go, "I don't like wasting time with you know bullshit conversations." Are you like that? Like when you go to a party, are you a good schmoozer or are you like, I
No,
can't?
no, I'm not because I don't like that either. I don't like the bullshit conversations either. And I feel like it's going to come across on my face. You're going to see it. If you're somebody interesting and we have something in common to discuss,
Yes.
great, let's do it. Otherwise, let's just move on, not waste each other's time. I mean,
I'm never going to see you again. And no.
yes.
So when you write, are you disciplined about it? Do you do it every day? Do you do 9 to 5? Do you like, what is your process?
So I would normally say yes, but I spent most of the summer in Greece with my kids. I took my laptop. I had the best of intentions. I thought I was going to get at least 10 chapters written while I was there. I didn't even get 10 words written while I was there. Really, yeah, it was that bad. But normally I do have a schedule. Um, my schedule is not always ideal because I do like to write when it's quiet. So sometimes I'll wake up and I'll start writing at 3 or 4 in the morning.
Oh,
That's
wow.
Yeah,
Like
that's
it just like you get a thought in your head, you're like, oh, I have to write that down.
yes. And then I also know that nobody's going to disturb me during that time. There's not going to be
How like and how many chunks of hours can you really work and get like good quality writing? Or does it just depend?
it depends, but I would say three is generally what
And
works.
then your mind, your brain is tired, I would imagine.
And my brain is tired and I need to take a break. But it depends. It really, sometimes you have these magical days where it just flows or you get this idea.
Flows.
Yeah, I love to swim. I used to swim competitively, and the pool sometimes is my happy place where, you're just back and forth in the water and your mind is wandering while you're there. So sometimes too, I'll be in the water and I'll get an idea. Like if I'm stuck somewhere in the book and then I go swim and it's like you've given your mind some time to rest and then new ideas start to flow where I've had that happen before. I'm like, I gotta hop out of the lap pool now and go and take some notes so I don't forget this.
Do you keep notes on your phone when something pops up, or do you write it? Like what do you do?
No, I'm not that old school where I have pen and paper anymore, but yeah, I can't, that would be, I don't know if that would be good or bad because I'm constantly worried that somebody's going to accidentally delete notes on my phone. So I constantly try to email them to myself as well as I'm writing the notes. But yes, I put a lot of notes on my phone.
Is your Yaya still alive?
No, I wish she was still alive, but no, she passed away. She was not, almost 98 when she passed away. So
Wow. And she was still like stealing olives and curing them and stuff and baking bread till
yeah,
the end.
yeah. So the final few months, she went into a retirement facility, and it was really cute because she would go and park herself in the kitchen and instruct the chef on what to do. And
She needed a
I
show.
don't have a kitchen anymore, but here I'm coming to yours. I'll tell you what to do.
She needed a show.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I know. She was. Yeah. I'm sorry she didn't have one, and but I have
Did
some.
she see any of your successes?
Yes. Oh, yeah. She used to love to watch Top Chef, and they would
Oh,
have.
she must have been so proud.
And yeah, so she would watch that. She would watch Food Network, and it's funny because they would say on Top Chef, "Watch what happens," and that would become her little thing. Or she'd always be like, "Watch what happens. Watch what happens."
Oh my God, that's so cool. Do you think we inherit more than recipes from the people who teach us to cook?
Oh my God, yes, for sure. I mean, we inherit so much from them. I mean, we inherit idea, techniques, skills in the kitchen and outside of the kitchen. We inherit stories, family histories, so many things. Yes.
What incredible memories you have with your grandmother. I mean, your Yaya. I just think it's so cool because I had a similar relationship with my grandmothers and cooking, and my family's Russian, and so they would teach, my grandmothers would have like, I have a million cousins. I'm sure you do too. You're Greek. And she would make an assembly line of us cousins making Russian dumplings. And
Oh.
we were like we were good. Like we could have sold. Did you have a similar thing with your cousins?
I love that. No, I don't think I ever made anything with so most of my cousins are in Greece. I'm an only child. My mom's an only child, but my grandmother is one of eight or was one of.
Okay, now yeah.
So yeah, so like, going back to Greece for the summer, it was great because I got to see all my cousins and we'd hang out. But no, we didn't do any cooking together. But I spent so much time cooking with my grandmother and hearing just always there were stories, stories about my grandfather who I didn't get to meet because he passed away when my mom was young, and just relatives and her sisters and all sorts of people. And so it was always fun. And some of those recipes, it's actually taken me a little while to build up the confidence to make them on my own, because of that fear of will they taste the same. I don't know if you've
I,
had
I
any
totally I totally know what you're
about
saying
that
because
too.
but I think it's like an inspiration because I'm a makeup artist in my other job. And I always tell people this, like even if you show someone an image and you want to, replicate it, it's always going to be slightly different. It's like an inspiration. But is there a smell or a dish that instantly brings your grandmother back to you?
Oh yeah. Yes, yes.
And what would that be?
So two, kunupidi kapama, which is a Greek village kind of peasant dish. So it's cauliflower that you caramelize. So it's
Oh,
cinnamon,
yum.
tomato sauce, fresh peas. Yeah, I love that dish, and I love making that dish because that one I can get exactly like she's next to me in the kitchen, and the flavor is there. Um, but then there are these cookies that she used to make called mela macarona. So meli is
Mm.
honey in Greek, and it's a honey cookie. So it's almost similar to baklava in some ways, but it's in a cookie form and it has ground walnuts, and you dip the cookies into the honey syrup. And she
Oh,
used to,
delicious.
oh yeah, she used to make tins of them, and she would keep the tins under her bed. So that way you would have to go and ask her to get them so she could control. She knew how many people were getting. And trying to get that, I think again, it goes back to the whole baking and pastry thing because she wouldn't measure things. So I had notes to go off of, but I didn't
Right.
have measurements. And so trying to get that exactly the same, because those memories are so important. Because, like you said, it's the same thing with cooking where you can give 20 people the same recipe, and even if you have the
Slightly different, right?
it'll be different. So trying to replicate it and get it exactly the way it was when she would make it.
Are
Yeah.
you writing another novel?
Yes. So book two is done and it is with my editor now. And I am just waiting to hear back. And
Do you see this coming? Like, could you see this as getting on screen as a film or a TV series?
yes, I mean, I really could. I mean, one critic called it Harry Potter meets the Great British Bake Off. And so I feel like, with all of the people that are interested in cooking shows and just kind of the fun, magical feel of it and the magic that really is there in cooking. Yes. And so there you go, putting that out into the
Oh,
universe.
I love that.
So,
So if
yeah, maybe
Hollywood
Tyler and
called,
I need to talk about that.
right?
I said, maybe Tyler and I need to talk about that.
Yes. If Hollywood called tomorrow, who would be your dream person to play Madame Blase?
Oh my goodness. Goodness, I haven't even thought about that. I don't know. um, hmm, yeah, don't know. I don't know. So I mean, she's older. Yes, I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know. I can tell you this. I'll tell you this. So the character was inspired partly partly by my mother, who is a former teacher and educator, but also by Dominique Crenn. Even though Madame Blaise is like an older person and but yeah, just somebody who's kind of always a step ahead of everyone else, kind of. Yeah. So I was focused more on getting inspiration from the real world and not thinking about Hollywood at this point.
Do you see yourself doing another cookbook, or do you feel like you're going to be just writing your amazing novels?
Never say never. Yeah,
That's true. What's inspiring you with cooking right now? Like, do you think you would do a savory cookbook, or would you be staying with the pastry?
thing with
What's kind of inspiring you these days?
gosh, quick and easy for my girls. Like quick and easy, but also healthy, but then fun. I mean, I'm so into making birthday cakes now and whimsical desserts, and my younger ones,
How fun!
we've been working on this design of a tree stump with a like hungry caterpillar theme. And so, yeah, I
You're
don't
like a makeup artist for cakes, for pastries.
know. Yeah, I know. If only I could translate that into everything else, hair and makeup in the real world.
Do you think we've made food far too complicated? Like
No,
we,
I mean, look, I love simple dishes. I do. but I also enjoy going to fine dining and Michelin star restaurants. Would I want to eat that way every day? No. But as a chef, I kind of enjoy that sometimes and seeing these techniques, what other chefs are doing and how they're putting things together, because that too is this kind of extreme form of creativity, culinary creativity. So I like it and I find it interesting. But I wouldn't want to eat that way every day.
Right. What is one dish that you can't make skinny?
Oh, a croissant. I mean, that's not a dish. That's just an
Oh
item.
yeah, no, no, yeah.
But yeah, but laminated doughs. There's no way I would ever try to do something like that and say, "Oh, let's make this lighter," or
How
not.
could you even? Like, I don't even, I don't like, have you
Oil.
ever tried?
No, but I guess I don't know. Oils, less butter, margarine. Oh, I don't know.
It,
No,
it sounds very complicated.
but it also sounds just
It's
not
perfect.
fun.
Why mess with it? Don't you think there's
Exactly.
some things that are just perfect and just need to be
Yes.
left?
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
I used to always say that too when I was going out and promoting my cookbook that I was trying to find the sweet spot in every recipe, but there are some recipes where you're just this is how it is. It has all this butter. I'm going to enjoy it and be okay with it. Everything in moderation. Like I wouldn't want to eat a croissant every day, but if I'm going to eat a croissant, I want to eat.
you want a good one.
Yeah, exactly.
What is your favorite dessert of all time?
Oh my God, that one is always so hard for me to answer. So hard. Um, this is again so simple. It's funny because I'm going to go with something that's so not complicated. But I love making ice creams. I'm such a sucker for ice creams. And
Really?
every restaurant I worked in, we had to have either a Taylor or Carpigiani ice cream machine to make all of our ice creams in house. And that was the one thing that I would say I would never get sick of. Everything else, but no, I don't need any of that. I'm done with the chocolate cakes or the tart,
Yeah, yeah.
but a good scoop of ice cream, I can never say no to that.
What ice cream or pastry have you made that you're like, you thought it was a total catastrophe and then it ended up being like award winning?
Oh my goodness. Let's see. Have I had anything like that that was a total, I mean, I didn't invent the tarte tatin, speaking of things that were total catastrophes, but ended up being a hit. Um, so I don't know. I'm trying to think, did I have anything that I thought was a disaster, but other people liked? No, not yet.
Okay.
That's something
Not
you
yet. If
not
you
yet.
could if you could actually cast one culinary spell, what would you do?
Ooh, yeah, what would I do? I think mine would be um oh, yes, maybe the clarity consomme in the book so that I could look into the future and have my questions answered, and then I would know what to do and I wouldn't have to second guess myself ever.
What are you never too busy for?
My girls. Never too busy for family and friends because at the end of the day, that's what I think life is all about and what matters the most. So,
Right.
yeah, so that's what I always try to make time for.
I love that. We're gonna do some rapid fire. You ready, my love?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Where is your happy place? You mentioned the swimming pool, but is there somewhere else?
Greek beach. Greek beach.
Is there one specific one that's your fave?
Oh God, I would say in Stupa, which is in the Peloponnesos, which is an area where my family's from on mainland Greece.
Oh, neat.
Water-based
What do
wine.
you do when your day isn't flowing?
When the day isn't flowing,
Yep.
try to take some deep breathing, a little bit of meditation, glass of wine.
There you go. How important is self-care, and do you have any favorite things you're doing right now?
I think self-care is extremely important, especially when you're busy, because you've got to kind of check in with yourself and make sure that you're not, going to run yourself into the ground. Um, my self-care, bubble bath, reading a good book, watching a good show, dinner with friends or family.
What are you binge watching these days?
Um, oh God, chasing Michelin stars on Apple TV. Yes.
Yeah, loving it.
Yes, I do. And it's one of those shows that makes me miss certain aspects of the kitchen.
Yeah. What would people be surprised to know about you?
Um, that I'm an introvert.
I
Yeah.
diagnosed that. You're an introverted extrovert.
Yes, you did right away. But most people don't. Most people are always very surprised and would be like, no, you know. Really?
Yeah. Or you're like somewhat shy because I get that too sometimes. Like,
Not shy, but it's just like you said, I'm not the one who wants to just strike up conversations with strangers in a room or, just because I'm good at being on camera doesn't mean that I'm good at being on in everyday life.
croissant or baklava?
Croissant, believe it or not.
Greek coffee or espresso?
Oh, Greek coffee.
San Francisco or Greece?
Oh, well, that's not fair. I mean,
No, you can say both. That question isn't
I
fair.
would say that depends on the time of year. If it's summertime, Greece all the way.
Greek.
If it's winter,
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Good
yeah.
answer. Restaurant kitchen or writing desk?
Writing desk. I'd say 6 days a week writing desk, but one day a week restaurant kitchen.
Cooking for two or cooking for 20?
Um, Again, that kind of depends on my mood, but probably usually cooking for two.
Dinner out or dinner at home?
Again, depends on my mood and depends on the restaurant.
Do you have a favorite San Francisco Bay Area restaurant other than the ones you've worked at?
I do. In fact, I'm going there for dinner tomorrow night.
Nice.
Ethel's Fancy. I love that place. Scott Nishiyama, the chef, he and I used to work together in San Francisco. He was at Restaurant Daniel in New York, the French Laundry, all sorts of places. And this is his spot that he's opened up, and it's like Japanese California food.
Ooh.
It's amazing. It's
Oh,
amazing.
how cool. I'm gonna have to hear how that goes. Your favorite Greek dish?
Um, Oh God, just do I have to pick one? Probably the kapama kunupidi, but I also really love galaktoburiko, which is a Greek custard. So I'll do both because
Ooh.
you need to
Yeah,
have
you
dessert too.
absolutely. Favorite dessert of all time?
Favorite dessert of all time. Ben and Jerry's wavy gravy ice cream, which they don't make anymore. And they
Oh, have you
discontinued
made
it.
it? Do you make a version of it?
Yes, I used to. I haven't made it in years because I don't have a Taylor ice cream machine at home. But I said for my husband, 10-year anniversary coming up. I think
I love that's what you want. You want a
we're
kitchen
gonna buy
appliance.
him. Yeah, I want a giant, expensive ice cream machine. Yeah, but yeah, that was my all-time favorite. Best ice cream.
One ingredient you could never live without.
Dark chocolate.
Good one. What's an ingredient that you think is totally overrated?
Oh, there are gonna be some people pissed off at me with what I'm about to say, but I'm gonna say it. Italian olive oil. Greece is the only country that 75% of their olive oil is of extra virgin quality, but the Italians are better at marketing. So there we go.
That's a good answer. I like that.
Okay, thank you.
The food you make when you need comfort.
Greek peasant dishes, the food of my
Yeah, cozy, right?
yes. Like
What is the best thing you've ever eaten?
oh my God, the best thing I've ever eaten. Oh, there's so many amazing dishes that I've had. The sea urchin from Nicolas Tiskinousas, which is a restaurant right by the water in Athens, and they only have what they call the achinosalata on days when the fisherman has brought it in fresh. That would be one. Um, the the milk bread at Ethel's Fancy that Scott, he doesn't have it on the menu anymore, and I'm so bummed. I keep trying to convince him to bring it back. It has a brown butter and sweet potato dip.
Oh,
Oh my God.
divine.
So good. Yes.
What is the worst thing that you have ever cooked?
The worst thing I've ever cooked. Um, God, I don't know. I mean, I grew up with such foodies that I don't think I've ever made anything so terrible that I'd be like, this is the worst thing I've ever made. Um, yeah, but my husband, however, has tried to convince me this is something he ate as a child. I still refuse to even try it, but I imagine this would be the worst thing ever. That he likes to eat spaghetti with ketchup. And yeah, yeah.
He's not Greek, is he?
No, he's not Greek. He's not Greek.
Is he from Missouri?
No, no, he's not from Missouri either, but he's from Tel Aviv, and you'd think he would know better than this, but clearly not Italian. Yeah, no.
Is there a chef that has inspired you?
Um, Gosh, I've worked with so many great chefs, and I've also gotten to know some really great chefs. I have a lot of respect and admiration for Hubert Keller. I really love Dominique Crenn and everything that she's done, especially for female chefs. Um, who else? Scott, I think, is also just a phenomenal chef. Really, just focused on his craft. Yeah, there's some really great chefs out there.
Is there a writer that inspires you?
Um, yes, for sure. Someone Shainani, who was kind enough to give me the blurb on the cover of my book as well. And they all say never meet your heroes. Um, but he thankfully is just such a doll and has been such a kind person and such a great mentor. So yes, because I'm such a fan of his writing.
Is there a book that you wish you could read again for the first time?
Oh God, yes. MFK Fisher's The Gastronomical Me. I read that years ago. It's an oldie but a goodie. You know, yeah, I love that book. I read that when I was just starting out after culinary school, and it was such a phenomenal read.
What's something you're terrible at?
Hairstyling and, and ironing.
If you weren't a chef or a writer, what would you be?
Oh my goodness, that's a good question. Gosh, what would I be? I don't know. Maybe an attorney. I always kind of love looking at the legal aspects of things, but I don't know if I could sit still long enough to do something like
What's one word that your friends would describe you?
that. Stubborn.
If you could cook a dinner for any person, dead or living, who would it be and what would you cook?
Oh my God. I would say Anthony Bourdain. I such a huge fan, and the day I got kicked off of Top Chef, he was the guest judge on on the next challenge. Such a bummer.
Ah,
Such a bummer. And he always criticized Greek food and thought and wasn't as impressed with it as Italian food. So I would try to change his mind on that one.
mm. What have I not asked you today that you'd like to share?
um, let's see here. I feel like you've asked me so many phenomenal questions.
Oh, you're so
Okay, I
sweet.
know. I've got it. I've
Oh,
got it.
good. Tell me. I can't wait.
Here we go. Um, Jamie, my
Jamie,
supposed to be so
the
proud of
amazing
himself. I was
publicist.
like, yes. Where can you find my book, Secret
Oh,
Spell?
yes. That was going to be the next thing. So, Marisa has Churchill's debut novel, Secrets, Spells, and Chocolate, is out now, and you can find it. Tell you.
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, or probably even at your local bookstore.
I am so excited for you. I can't wait to read it. Congratulations. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Jamie, for setting this up.
Thanks, Jamie. Thank you so much for having me on, Christina. I had so much fun
Uh,
chatting.
so much fun. I'm Christina Flach. I'm too busy. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. And I will see you next week. And I'm too busy.